Hey everybody, Coach David here with a video intro for our next CrossFit Group Class programming cycle. So this will be a 7-week cycle. It's going to start this Monday, the 25th, and take us through the middle of December, Sunday, December 15th, before we take a little off-cycle break prior to the new year. So I'm going to talk about the weekly biases that we have in the format for the programming, and then we'll talk about each day individually a little bit more. So we have some biases built in at the front of the week. So on Monday, we'll have strict pull-ups. Regardless if you've got 10 strict pull-ups or 0 strict pull-ups, we're going to have a progression that works for you. On Tuesdays and Wednesdays, we're going to have a similar rep scheme or same rep scheme, back squat and shoulder press bias. Thursday is going to be a vary day, as well as Saturday, so you'll see variance to kind of fill out the rest of the week. On Fridays and Sundays, we're going to have our floater days. So if you're not familiar with what that floater is, that's an opportunity. We have a segment within class built in where people can choose one of the prior lifts that they missed, or something that came up on a Thursday or Saturday that sort of complements what that workout was. So perhaps if you missed Monday and you didn't get your strict pull-ups in, that doesn't mean that you're shit out of luck. You have an opportunity on Thursday or Friday to get those in before we come back together and do something as a group for the second part of class. We also have a continuation of the ring muscle-ups that we did last cycle. So we just spent 8 weeks working ring muscle-ups. Coach Whitney and Eric put us through an 8-week progression on that. So a lot of people get their first ring muscle up and make a lot of progress on that. So if you are really excited about that and you want to continue that progress and development, we're going to have options on Friday and Sunday for you to continue that ring muscle up work. So it won't be a full breakdown like we saw in the prior cycle, where you're going to have all these different scaling options and a weekly progression. But this is an opportunity where you can kind of talk to the coach, pick up where you left off, focus on the skills and drills that you need to get you increased capacity with that ring muscle up. So that's the overview of our week. And then let's talk about some of these days a little more specifically. All right, y'all. So on Monday, we have a bias towards strict pulling strength. For some people, that might be working towards their first strict pull-up. For other folks, that might be adding some volume to their existing max rep pull-ups. So we want to increase capacity regardless of where you're at. One bias this cycle is we are not going to have any banded work on Mondays. So we're going to ditch the bands and make sure everyone does some version of a body weight, self-assisted or weighted version. You can see the options here. Some folks will be going weighted pull-ups with external load, just using body weight, box piked, self-assisted. So your feet are up on a box, hips off the floor, and you'll be using that to get some of your weight off your arms. We can also be working negatives and then feet on the floor, self-assisted. But we want to get folks away from the band and working some variants of these as they go through the week's programming. So there will be a gradual increase in volume throughout the week and how many reps you're getting in. So we're starting off with 5 sets of 3. That's going to be a higher effort for a lot of folks. Some folks might be doing that again with additional weight. Some folks not. Regardless of where you're at, you're going to try to do your best to do as many of these sets within the ranges that you can. It's normal for these to be cluster sets too. So say, for example, you are on week 3, 3 sets of 6 to 8 reps. You're doing this just at body weight. So set 1, maybe you got 7 strict pull-ups. Awesome, you rest up. Set 2, you only hit 5. Okay, so instead of just kind of being done, give it a couple seconds and then hit that extra rep to at least match what you got in the first set. And then same thing, you might even have a cluster of movements that you use. So say you're doing body weight and you get to set 3, you get 3 strict pull-ups and you can't quite get any more in a reasonable time frame. So instead you finish out your set with some box piked self-assisted to really get that overload effect and make sure that you're kind of pushing yourself regardless of where you're at. So you might be breaking up some of these sets into kind of micro sets, cluster sets. You might be modifying the movement within the set. So ideally, it's as consistent as you can within the training day, but we want to use that as an option. So if you hit a wall, you're not just kind of shit out of luck there. We'll end up with a 5-minute test. Coach Whitney will have some more details on that, but basically it's going to be 5-minute AMRAP strict pull-ups, depending on where you're at. All right, so on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, we have shoulder press and back squat, and those 2 lifts are going to follow the same programming over the course of the cycle. So the first 2 weeks, we're doing 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps, then we're doing 3 sets of 8 to 12, 3 sets of 6 to 10, and then finishing off with a top set of 5 on the final week. These sets are intended to be taken across, meaning you're doing the same weight and the same reps for all 3 sets that day. Then the following week, you're going to try to add a little bit to that. So you can either be adding reps. You might stay at the same weight and add reps. So like this person did 135 for 10, 3 sets of 10 week 1. They stayed at that same weight, but they went to 3 sets of 12 the following week. And then once they kind of completed that top cap there, they went on down and reset to 145 for 10, 145 for 12. And then we have a bigger drop here. So they went for a 10-pound jump, 3 sets of 10, and then finished off with the 15-pound jump. They were feeling excited about it. Dropped to 8 reps, did 3 sets of 8 at 170. This person, on the other hand, this is another example of how you might kind of slice and dice the week. This person made consistent weight jumps every single week, right? They stayed at the 12s. If they were riding a high, there was no need to drop in the reps. They were able to increase their weight each time within that 12 rep scheme. And then the final 2 weeks of this progression, here they have a 10-pound jump as they go to 10s, and then a 5-pound jump, and they stay to 10s there. Okay, so different ways you can approach this. Basically, just ask the coach if you're not sure. The best time to kind of process this is after you finished your 3rd set. How hard was that? Reflect about what you would do differently next time, what you think you have the capacity for, and just make sure that you push forward each. All right, y'all, so that's our cycle. We hope you enjoy it. It'll be a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of variance in there. We'll be doing skills. We have some benchmark workouts coming up, I believe in week 2 even, and should be a great cycle. So let us know what you think, and we will see you at the gym.